Hello, I'm Jessica Wandless, and I am a program coordinator at the Purdue Center for Regional Development. Today we will be talking about the in-work curriculum, and the educators, several educators will be going over the different modules in it, how to access it, and answering any questions that you may have about the curriculum, about the activities, and kind of what to expect and some do's and don'ts for the audiences that you would be facilitating with this with. And then at the end, I will come back and talk about the changes and revisions that are happening with the curriculum. So we'll go ahead and get started with Monica, and she'll introduce herself and tell you where to find the curriculum, and then start talking about some of the first couple lessons in the in-work curriculum notebook that you all should have received to your county office.
Hello, I am Monica Nagel, Health and Human Science Educator with Montgomery County, and I was one of the team members who was originally on the team who created the in-work Skills for Tomorrow's Workforce curriculum. And so today I'm going to help walk you through some of the steps on how to find the in-work curriculum on the Education Store, as well as some information about each of the lessons. So we'll go ahead and get started with how to find it on the Education Store. So here's a quick slide, but I'm actually going to go away from this screen and go to the Education Store to show you how to find it. So let me share my screen really fast. And so now you should see the Education Store screen. And when you get here, you will need to log on. You'll need to go to My Account, and you'll need to log in. Each office has a BP number that is specific to their office. Your CED or your office manager should have this number, so you can ask them for it. If that doesn't work, you can also contact the Education Store themselves, and they can provide you with this BP number as well as your password. They have all of that information and can share that with you. And most of them are set up with a generic password, and you would have had to change it. And so that is why they have the password. So I'm going to log in. I have mine saved here so that I won't forget. And then we're going to go up to Media, and down towards the bottom it says County Only Pubs. And it's in this section because only we as county employees are able to have access to this. It is not accessible to anyone else who just logs on to the Education Store. It is protected behind our login screen. So then you can see as you scroll down here to the third one, you can see the in-work, and it's a free download. So this is how you find the online version of the in-work curriculum. You should have also received a book in your office. I think it's been 2 Julys ago now that you would have received that. There was only one per office, so someone else in your office may have it, or several people have claimed not to have received that during that mailing. And that's fine, no big deal. You can log on here and get all of the exact same information you can from that book in an electronic version. So when you open the zip drive that you have downloaded from the Education Store, this is what you will be able to find on that file. So there'll be a lesson plan. So each individual lesson is written out in there, and everyone can access that. There's also PowerPoint presentations there to help in facilitating your class discussion. You are not required to use these PowerPoint presentations, but they are there if you prefer to use that method. Each lesson also comes with handouts. So this is a great place to be able to print those handouts, much easier than you can in the book. And so you can find all of the handouts there and available to use. As well as each lesson, we tried to make it as interactive as possible. So there are links to YouTube videos, there's some activities, handouts, and everything in each lesson to help with that. I would encourage you to verify and make sure all the links to the YouTube videos work prior to going to the classroom, because we made this program a few years ago now, so the link that worked maybe the day we did it is no longer working. But as long as you check them ahead of time, you should be able to still find most of those videos, but possibly with a new link. So please check that. Again, at the time of creation of this program, we did a cost recovery form, and we recommended a fee of $20 per person to take this class. And that basically was using your printing of your handouts, any of the supplies you might need to purchase, if there's a site fee or refreshments, is basically how we came up with this cost recovery. Now, please remember that this is a recommended fee. If you're unable to garner that fee from wherever you might be doing this program, that is okay. I would expect to be hearing some more about our cost recovery for this program as we get our statewide suggestions for how to charge for programs as we move forward. But please do keep in mind, if you're going to a school or someone like that and they're unable to pay, that is okay, but this is a recommended fee if you're able to receive monies from the location you're going to. We also suggest an audience size of 20 participants. If you have more than that, it just gets a little difficult to handle all of the activities and everything and keep everyone engaged. So having about 20 participants in the classroom is ideal. All right, Jessica. All right, so there are 10 lessons included in the in-work curriculum. They're listed here. So plan to Vita, pass the buck, dress for success, teamwork makes the dream work, tick-tock, tick-tock, think before you post, money, 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 what skills will pay the bills, nice to meet you, and tell your story. And we're gonna go through each one of these lessons and describe to you some of the activities and different parts of the lesson, as well as maybe give you a few tips on how the lesson can be adjusted to better meet the needs of your audience. So lesson 1 is Plan de Vida, or that is Spanish for Plan for Life. And we always recommend that this lesson go first. So no matter what audience you're teaching to or how many of the lessons you're teaching, we recommend to please do this one first, because it is all about goal setting. This really helps set the tone for the class and helping students understand that in order to be successful in life, you really need to have some goals set in order to do so. So there are some good activities in this chapter that walk you through creating SMART goals for the future. And one of my favorite activities in here is a paced decision-making model, which really helps you weigh out the pros and cons of any decision that needs to be made. And so since we're really talking about future plans, we kind of encourage them to try to come up with a solution to a college or career choice of their liking, but really this paced decision-making model could be used for anything. You know, if someone needs to really help decision on making dinner tonight, they could work through this paced decision-making model to do so. Of course, that is not the goal of our program, so we really try to encourage the students to think about college and career choices that they might need to be weighing out, determine what to do. There's a couple handouts in this lesson, and I find that when working with youth, using handouts that they have to write on can tend to not be very exciting for them. So there's an actual activity in here called the Thinking Man, and it's asked them to think about what they want to be remembered as once they leave this life that they currently know. And so they, write words down, and then you kind of ask them to share. Well, I have found that students are a little bit reluctant to share because sometimes those things are very personal. So what I've tried to do, especially when you get working with a youth audience and I have the access and ability, I've used making word clouds via technology. So using something like Poll Everywhere to make a word cloud, and then students are able to anonymously write in what they would like to be remembered as, and then it'll pop up in a word cloud on the screen. No one ever has to know who says it. And so you get a lot more response and find out what people are really feeling about this question than when you ask them to write it down on a piece of paper silently and then ask them to share, because lots of times it is extremely personal to them and they're not very willing. Another fun activity in this lesson is one that's a marshmallow activity. So it's talking about prioritizing things in your life. And so you actually have to students will actually put marshmallows in their mouth to determine how to prioritize things. This is a really fun activity that the students always love to do. And but it can get a little messy. So I recommend bringing some trash cans or things like that to make sure we can help keep the classrooms clean. And the next lesson is pass the buck. And so this one is all about understanding personal accountability in life. And so I sit on several boards in our community with employers who are talking about their difficulties in hiring staff. And one of the things that always comes to the forefront is they want people to show up to work. They want people to show up to work on time, and they want them to have critical thinking and the ability to problem solve and think for themselves. And so pass the buck really helps start to help students think about those critical thinking and problem solving aspects. And so instead of when a customer comes in and complains to you about something being wrong, say you're at a restaurant, you don't say, oh, that's the kitchen's fault. That's not the proper response, but thinking about how you can take that personal responsibility for whatever has occurred here and making it better for that customer is really a lot of what this lesson is about. And so this lesson is a little more difficult for youth to really grasp and understand, but I still think it's very crucial and important for youth to understand this lesson. And so there's also a leadership component in here. And so really talking about how those people who are good at taking personal accountability for their actions really help and excel typically into leadership roles. And so then talking about too how in those career opportunities, this might allow them to advance in their career up some lines of managerial levels.
Hi, my name is Mitch Wagner. I am the 4-H Youth Development Educator in Knox County. I've been part of the team since the beginning when we started putting this curriculum together. I'm going to be talking about different modules that is throughout the lesson that you can have the opportunity to do. The first one that I'm going to be talking about and discussing is the Dress for Success lesson plan activity. And so this one really looks at the importance of making sure that the participants understand the importance of how well they are groomed, make sure that they understand how to dress, and make sure that they walk into that interview with a positive attitude. And so we'll be talking about the different types of dress in this activity, from casual to business casual and to professional wear for both male and for female participants. In this activity, there's different activities that you can do. One of my favorite one that I know the kids enjoy, it is the how to tie a tie. And especially with this one, we talk about why it's important to tie a tie and make sure that I go through and make sure that the women also understand why they need to know how to tie a tie, because they may need it for their future spouse, for their kid, or for a friend on how to tie a tie. And so I think this is a very good activity for the kids to do and to be able to know how to do that. Next slide, please. The next lesson you can do is teamwork makes the dream work. And with this one, we talk a lot about teamwork and making sure why it's important to make sure that the participants understand what life employers are looking for, that make sure that they are being able to fit into their team. And so what the activities we talk about in this one is making sure the participants understand their communication habits and also being able to discover their communication style. In this activity, towards the end, they're able to work together as a team to build the tallest structure using marshmallows and spaghetti. This is a very fun activity to see how the kids interact with each other, and also to see how they get along as a team and to figure out what type of member are they of the team. Next slide, please. Another lesson is tick, tick, tock. And time management is always a very important one to make sure that everybody understands for both our personal life and also for our work life. In this one, we talk a lot about, we'll discuss time wasters, how to organize and prioritize our tasks and planning. So in here, they're able to make a lesson plan for their day, like how they should map out their day, figure out there's different things what is their time wasters. An activity that you can do is a video you can watch is called Jar of Life, and that shows the demonstrations between the different types of your big priorities and the things that just time wasters that you really don't have to, and how you have to try to prioritize those. With these activities, you're able to mix and match. The one activity that I changed the Jar of Life out for is the priorities are sweet teamwork game. And so this one's found in the Plan to Vita activity. If you don't do it there, you can do it here. And so this one, they talk about having a participant put a big marshmallow in his mouth, and then put a small marshmallow in his mouth, and then take some drink of water and see if they can get it all in their mouth. And then the other participant, they start with the water. They put the water in their mouth, then they start with a small marshmallow, and then they put a big marshmallow in to try to demonstrate, to make sure that you prioritize your time using the big items first and the more important items before you be moving on to the smaller items. And so this is one that I know I struggle with, and we all struggle with, but it's one of those that there's ways that we can definitely improve on those levels. Next slide, please. Think before you post. It's forever. Social media is out there and it's everywhere that we are. And a lot of people do not know how to use it properly. And so that's one thing that we'll be talking about in this lesson, is making sure that our participants are aware and they understand what social media is and how to use it. Make sure that they are safe. Make sure they're using it, that they're smart using it, and make sure that they have a professional side of it. Because employers definitely check out their social media profiles to make sure that they want that participant to be a future employer for them. In this activity, we're going to be talking about the don'ts. You do not do this on social media. And then we also talk about some suggestions of what you should do, the do's of social media. And we also will be discussing case studies on this lesson to try to help the participants grasp the importance of making sure that they are professional on social media.
All right, my name is Amanda Galloway, and I'm the Community Development Educator in Tippecanoe County. And I helped with the IBAT on this project, so it's been one of my babies from the get-go, and something I'm very passionate about. The curriculum that I'm going to talk to you about today, or the lesson I'm going to talk to you about today, is money management. The money management component is discussing where the individual's money goes. So you talk about some of the budget busters and some of the realistic spending habits that people have. You'll also implement a budget with realistic expectations and goals. And it's helpful if you do have individuals bring a list of their monthly expenses prior to this class starting, because it's hard to set a budget when you're not really sure what your expenses are. So I've seen that be an issue with previous classes. So usually I just give them a heads up that we'll be doing a money management component and to bring a list of their expenses. And then they also discuss the importance of saving money. Moving on to what skills will pay the bills. This is an introduction to the world of work. So we really teach about the career planning process. So assessing your own skills, goals, evaluate the employment market, identify job opportunities, and how to apply for a job. And then there's also a template in this for a job application for individuals to fill out, and that's extremely helpful. Although it is a written out job application, and usually it's done online, it's still helpful to have that on hand and be able to think through that process of the job application. There's also a personal skills inventory list, and I really like this paired with the resume writing. I was working with youth a couple weeks ago, and they're creating their resumes, and unfortunately they do not have a whole lot of job experience. So we really have to focus their resume to be more based on their current skills. So by using the skill inventory list, we are able to take that information and be able to implement it within their resume, and it was extremely helpful. And a lot of them didn't realize that they had some of those skills that were extremely valuable in the workforce. And then we also prepared them to discuss those skills and give examples. We also discussed the hidden costs once you get a job. So transportation, union dues, clothing, childcare, relocation, and then also the benefits. So vacation time, health insurance, and so on and so on. Moving on to nice to meet you. This is helping learners understand the importance of interviews. So we warm up with a handshaking icebreaker, and I will warn you, when I've done this with youth, they are a little hesitant. So it's helpful if you join in on this process and give them an example. And then also bring hand sanitizer, because they're iffy about that. And it's also, this lesson is also with identifying personal strengths to better market themselves. So being able to have an elevator pitch for themselves in the issue that, or in the scenario that might arise. And we've also done mock interviews and we practice typical interview questions. I've done this with youth as well, and they would dress up for the interview and I would ask them those questions that are generally asked in an interview, and then afterwards give them some positive and constructive feedback on things that they can improve on. And because we can all improve when it comes to an interview process, and just different tips and techniques moving forward. Tell Your Story is a resume and career, or I'm sorry, cover letter program where we help individuals figure out what type of resume is best for them. There's several. For example, the youth, we geared it more towards skills, but those who may have had a lot of experience, we focus on their job experience and what they gained from it. We also have great handouts in this lesson to help in the process. And we discuss the importance of utilizing the power verbs, because power verbs can really capture the attention of employers when you're trying to market yourself. And then I will usually use this time to have them implement their own resume. So it is helpful with this lesson if you have a computer for them to utilize to really build their resume if they don't already have one, and then going back and helping them critique it and modify it as needed. Finally, I'm going to share with you the dice game. This is just an example of one of the activities that we do within Plan de Vida. And I really like this program because it's not just sitting there facilitating and teaching them all the things that we want them to know. It's really getting them to participate and have fun and make it interactive. This game is especially great with youth, and I highly recommend doing this with Plan de Vida, which is usually the first lesson that we ask that you do and suggest you do. And with this game, the youth are given a pencil, just one pencil in the group, and each one has a piece of scrap paper. And their goal is to get to 100 as fast as you can, so dashing out 1 to 100 as fast as you can. And when a player rolls a 1 or a 6, you steal their pen and start writing 1 to 100, and the other person has to put their pencil down. And the first person who gets 100 wins. So this game is great because after you do it, you discuss what factors could you control and what factors could you not control. And the importance that life doesn't happen by chance, and we are in control of many factors in our life. Although there are some things we cannot control, we can minimize those factors by how we respond to them. And overall, we get in what we put into our lives, or we get out what we put into our lives. I am going to hand it over to Monica, who's going to discuss the adult component of the evaluation process.
All right, so we have 2 key audiences with this program that we have asked to target. And one of those audiences is adults. And the adults that we're targeting are those who are GED recipients, or it's been renamed and it's now an HSE, or high school equivalency exam that they will pass in order to receive that. So those are kind of the people we're targeting. Displaced workers, maybe even people of the judicial system would be great audiences to attract to come to this class. So we're really looking to target those adults who lack any formal education. This is not designed at all for someone who has a college education. It's really more designed for those who don't have that. So there's 10 lessons available for use. You are allowed to select whichever lessons you would like. You do not have to teach all 10 of them. You can piece and match whichever lessons work for the audience you're teaching. However, we do ask that that first lesson always be the Plan de Vida lesson, because again, it just really helps set that foundation for goal setting and will help ensure your participants' success in the future, because if they can't set goals, it's going to be challenging for them to meet a goal. We also require that you have a minimum of 6 hours in order to offer the evaluation tool. So you can offer this lesson, this curriculum for less than 6 hours. However, you will not be able to collect any evaluation information from that audience. So it's encouraged, it's not technically mandatory, but it is highly encouraged so that we're able to collect the evaluation data and garner some statewide evaluations for the adult audience. And so on that note, how you do the adult evaluations. It must be someone who is 18 years or older in order to collect the evaluations on these persons. And you must do it at the completion of 6 lessons or 6 hours of education. If you choose to do more, that is fantastic, but you have to do a minimum of at least 6 hours in order to use our evaluation tool. And our evaluation tool is found in Qualtrics, and you can actually, there's a set of 4 questions per lesson. And so when you're ready to collect that evaluation or ready to offer the program to an adult, you will contact me and ask you'll provide me with your city certification and ask me how to get that information. And I will send you a link that shows you how you can collect in the library on Qualtrics each of the lessons that you choose to do questions. And so there's one, like I said, there's 4 sets for each lesson, as well as 1 set for the overall. So no matter what lessons you do, you would also ask the overall set of questions. This will really help us target the lessons you did, because obviously if you didn't teach a lesson, then people aren't going to be able to answer the questions very well about that. And so when you're ready for that, just contact me, Monica Nagel, and get that information to go ahead and offer that evaluation tool.
So I'll be talking about working with youth. And so with this curriculum, it's not just for adults, it's also for youth. And so you're able to use this curriculum with your high schools or with your youth detention centers. I've had the opportunity of using it in both locations, with my local high schooler with an FFA chapter, and also working with the youth detention center here in my county. There is a minimum of 6 hours with doing this. And so the reason why we have the 6 hours, it's for the common measures survey that we'll cover in a second. So with this, you're able to pick from the 10 lesson plans which ones you like, which ones your teacher likes too. I know I always ask my teachers, which lessons do you think are important that the kids know and learn about? And so they're able to give some feedback like, I think this is what my kids need now. And so it's why it's really important to work with your school counselors and also the teachers that you'll be going in and teaching with them to make sure that you are making sure that you are adapting the lessons to meet the youth that you'll be presenting. And now we're going to be talking about the evaluation part of this. And so this is for the evaluation for 18 and younger, so for our youth. And so this is where you're going to be working with your 4-H youth development educator to conduct the college and career readiness common measures survey evaluation tool that we have. Just as a reminder, it is required to have a minimum of 6 hours for the program. And so this is one where you're able to administer the common measures survey, and you're able to create an impact statement using those numbers. And we're also able to provide data for national 4-H. If you have any questions, please don't forget to reach out to a state specialist or any other 4-H educator to be able to help you with your questions on the evaluation tools for 4-H common measures. Thank you.
This is Jessica again, and I'm going to be talking about the changes coming to the in-work curriculum. The curriculum will be renamed to Work Ready, and the reasoning behind that is that it has been such a well-received and popular product that agencies and organizations in other states outside of Indiana are interested in using it and purchasing it. And so we wanted to make it so that it is less Indiana specific in terms of the marketing behind it. So the changes that are coming to the curriculum, there'll be additional modules as well as some updates. And one of the additional modules will be about customer service. So what we found is that once participants in the curriculum do go out and find the employment that they're looking for, that once they're there, they are lacking in some customer service skills. so basic customer service skills. And so what we want to include as an option for one of the modules in this book is some basic customer service that you would share with new employees, such as potentially telephone etiquette or how to greet people, how to handle difficult customers, difficult situations. And so that's what the customer service module is going to focus on. We're also looking at putting in a digital skills module. And so when I say digital skills, what I'm talking about is digital skills that relate to the workplace. So it wouldn't be social media or how to use Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, that sort of thing. We're looking at digital skills that make for a productive work environment. So for example, it might be something like how to use Excel or how to use Outlook, how to use the Microsoft Office suite so that they can be productive at work with the digital skills that they may or may not have at different levels. Then another thing that we're looking at adding are some critical thinking activities. Another one of the workforce development programs is the Skills for Success program. And in those modules, they have some critical thinking activities that we're looking at adapting and including into the current, several of the current modules of the in-work to be work-ready curriculum. And then finally, the last thing that we're doing overall is doing general updates of the current curriculum. So for example, one of the sections that is talking about budget and budgeting, we're updating those numbers so that they more reflect current day costs and potential expenses and that sort of thing. So the target date for this work-ready curriculum to be completed is the summer of 2019. So here in several months, we're looking to roll out and launch the new curriculum, the new and revised curriculum. So if you have any questions or questions or concerns about anything that you heard today, please don't hesitate to contact one of us. All of our contact information, as well as email, phone numbers, that sort of thing, are listed here. By all means, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions regarding any of the modules or how to do any of the activities, pricing, where to find the curriculum, that sort of thing. So if you have any questions at all, like I said, please don't hesitate to ask. I do want to say, as closing, thank you all for listening to the in-work session today. We hope that you found this helpful and that it's better prepared you to facilitate the modules to your local audiences. So if you have, like I said, any questions or concerns, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Goodbye.